Hi, welcome back to My Yoga to Go. This is a level 2 strength video that we're calling Core Cleanse. Great sequence for any time you're just feeling thick or heavy or dull, perhaps from overeating, such as, Thanksgiving holiday time. This is your go-to sequence. Ready? No props necessary other than your mat. You're just going to position yourself on all fours. When you look down, make sure that your hands are right under your shoulders and that your knees are right underneath your hips. From that basic placement of your limbs, just wait until you sense a nice inhale. Then on the exhale, curl your head and tail toward each other so your back gets round. Inhale, do the opposite. Lift your head and tail away from each other so that you arch your back. And again, exhale, curl head and tail toward each other so that you get round. In your own rhythm, inhale, lift head and tail away from each other. And exhale, curl head and tail toward each other. Inhale, lift head and tail away from each other, you arch. And exhale, head and tail toward each other, round. Keep going at your own clip for about 5 more cycles. It'd be downright weird if your breath was perfectly synchronized with the cadence of my voice. So hear the cues, but remember, always go at your own pace so that you don't force anything. You simply follow. 2 more. Don't force. Follow. Now as you come back to neutral, slide your knees back 3 inches, curl your toes under if they weren't already, take downward facing dog. Spread your fingers, extend through your inner elbows. And with each inhale, wiggle your hips a little farther away from your grounded hands. So as you inhale, you lengthen your waist. And that feels pretty natural because breath always wants more and more space. Then just like you did when you're on all fours, on the exhale, curl your tail, hollow your belly, come forward to plank position. Glance down, align yourself again so that shoulders are right over wrists. Make the legs strong and straight, and most of us need to tighten up right above the knees, firm right above your knees. Continue to hollow your belly from the curl of your tail. And then when you feel the inhale, pull back again, downward facing dog. Way back, downward dog. With your next exhale, step your right foot all the way forward between your hands. Spin your left heel to the ground. Spread your toes. Strengthen your feet. And from here, take warrior 2. Come up right with your torso, out wide with your arms. Then inhabit both of your legs. So make the bent leg is pretty obvious. Make it strong. Feel that strength, but then fish back for the straight leg. Make it equally strong by, again, tightening up above your knee. Don't let the tightness of your legs steal your breath. In fact, you want to feel that the strength of your lower body is actually enhancing the length of your upper body so that you have more breath. One more inhale. Exhale, drop your arms, peel your left heel, step back to plank position. Hover. Strong arms, strong legs, hollow belly from the curl of your tail. With the inhale, go back. Untuck your tail as you go back in a downward facing dog. Reach through your arms and tease open the backs of your knees. Tease open the backs of your knees. On the exhalation, step left foot forward between your hands. Spin your right heel to the ground. Pause, broaden the soles of your feet. Strengthen your feet. And from there, slowly lift up. Warrior 2. Glance down, make sure your knee is over your ankle.
Inhabiting your legs means feeling their vitality, their vigor, all while allowing this general ease and fluidity to your breath. Now note, the bent leg is usually fairly obvious to feel. The straight leg takes a little bit more probing for. Push down in your right foot. Tighten up just above the kneecap. And then feel as though both of those strong legs, again, are propelling your torso up. That you can inhale and almost float up a little bit. All while you steady yourself from below. One more inhale. Exhale, drop your arms, peel your heel, plank position again. Now from plank position, squeeze above the knees, hollow belly from the curling tail. Slowly shift your chest forward so that your elbows can lower backward. If that's too much for you, remember the modification, you can always put your knees to the ground. But you want to challenge yourself to hover. And then go back the same way you came in, so back to plank position. Back to downward facing dog as you inhale. Again, exhale, curl your tailbone so your belly is supportive. Squeeze above the knees. Slowly shift your chest forward just so that your elbows have somewhere to go. They move backward. And you hover, push-up pose. Retrace your steps back to the plank position, back to the downward facing dog pose. From there, walk your feet all the way forward to the top of your mat. Take a standing forward bend, holding your elbows, but letting go of your head. And when we might not think that this is a place where we need strength, most people need more firmness and strength in their feet. To activate that strength, lift and spread all 10 of your toes. Lift and spread. Push down on the roots of your toes. Keep that downward press as you ground your heels. And notice that the strength of your feet starts to float your pelvis up like it's the fire hydrant, let's say, that the Looney Tune character just kicked over. Remember that? The guy would kick over a hydrant and all the water would gush up. You want to feel like your pelvis floats up from the strength of your feet. Now totally relax your neck down. Let it hang down. And then finally release your fingertips to the ground. Heel toe your feet just a little wider than your mat. You want to have your inner heels on the outer edges of your mat. Also, angle your feet out about 15 degrees relative to the outer edges of your mat. Now bend your knees even more so that your thighs can come parallel to the floor. Also want to make sure that your torso is parallel to the floor. So thighs, torso, all the way through the length of your neck and head. Without pressing your teeth together, press down in your heels, press down on the roots of your toes. Feel that same Looney Tune effect in your pelvis, that it's hovering right between your strong legs. Now you just let your arms go out wide to the side. And for some of us, the arms will volunteer to be doing the whole pose, but I promise, if you keep the arms light, keep your shoulder blades wide, then actually you just have more and more strength available to you in your lower body. And you're breathing. And you're feeling the warmth of your legs. And we're going to hold this for just 5 more minutes. Just kidding. Put your hands down. Heel toe your feet to hips width apart. And put your hands to the back of your pelvis. Push down on your tailbone. Come all the way up to standing. Inhale, float your arms all the way up overhead. Catch hold of your left wrist, do a gentle side bend over to your right. Once more, notice that the strength of both feet on the floor enables you to ease your spine over. And that can feel just a really delightful stretch. Come to center, try it on the other side, so holding right wrist. Release any gripping in your throat. Put more pressure down in your strong feet. Then side bend gently. Gently over to your left. So easy does it. Come on over. Come back to center, releasing your wrists. Swan dive all the way down for the standing forward bend. Now as you inhale, bend both knees, slide your chest forward. And as you exhale, step just your left foot way back to the back of your mat. Spin the left heel to the ground like we did before, only instead of lifting upright for warrior two, extend your left arm all the way over your ear for side angle pose. Again, broaden your feet. Strengthen your legs. Lengthen your waist as you turn open your chest. 3 breaths. And then release, hands down to the ground. Peel that back heel from the floor, bending the back knee, push off that foot and step forward. Swap sides, right foot way back. Spin that heel down to the ground. From the anchoring of your feet, extend your right arm all the way over ear. It's important too in any strength practice to not try to control your breath. The more invigorating poses will quicken your breath, and for some reason, some of us feel like that's poor form or something. That, oh, my breath should be calm and yogic. No, let it flow however it wants to go. And keep tapping into the strength of your legs to lengthen your waist, to free your chest. Good, and then release, hands down. Peel your right heel from the ground. Find your way back to plank position. Pause, spread your fingers. Curl your tail under and squeeze above the knees. Shifting your weight forward, bend your arms, lower to the push-up pose. This time, flip to the tops of your feet. Begin to lift your chest for upward dog pose. Only in this upward dog, you're going to keep the strength of your hands, but you're going to wiggle your pelvis a little side to side. A little bit side to side so you ease open the front of your hips. Now lift your chest. Lift your gaze. And then hollowing your belly back, pull your thighs back, downward dog. Lengthen, 3 breaths. Lengthen. Bend both knees down to the ground. Cross your left shin on top of your right shin. Roll over your heels and onto your butt. Sit with your legs straight forward in the pose of the staff. Now take your right heel all the way toward your right butt bone. Take your right arm all the way up to the sky. Dive your torso to the inside of that thigh. And then wrap your arm all the way around your leg. If you can't hold hands with yourself, no big deal, right? If you can't hold hands with yourself, just push with your right arm, like I'm doing now. And you'll start to get a little bit more length in your waist, and you can turn your chest. So this would be the modified version of it. But again, as I've said in previous videos, I was born with sort of long arms. And so for whatever reason, my hands just go there. Whether you're holding hands with yourself or not, turn open chest. Turn open chest. And realize that you only get so far if you forget about the turning of your belly. So let's say for the last few cycles, turn your belly from right to left. Turn your belly. Notice how the chest freely follows. I'll release that one. This is a little bit different. You'll keep your right arm on the inside of the right thigh. Lean your body over to the left so that both palms can be planting down. And then keeping the inner right thigh in contact with your right elbow. See if you can put more and more weight onto your hands so that it's the same shape we were just doing, but more of the weight is coming to the hands. Release that one. Come to center, staff pose. Let's try it on the other side. Left heel in and left arm high. And again, you could dive to the inside of that thigh. Wrap your arm around. Freakishly long arm, folks. Like myself, well, you can hold hands. Others, remember the modification. Either way, use the push of your left arm to initiate the turning of your chest. When you feel a little bit stuck, bring your belly into the mix. Turn it from left to right. And the belly sort of has a mind of its own, doesn't it? It turns, especially on the exhales. It slightly retreats on the inhales. It turns a little bit more on exhales. And it slightly retreats on inhales. Once more, turn belly to open chest. Then releasing the clasp of your hands. Lean your body weight over towards straight leg. Spread your fingers. Make sure the hands are about shoulders width apart. Now keep your inner left thigh in contact with your left arm. Put more weight into your hands, and in the same shape, just pick left foot off floor. So it's really the hands holding you up. Hands holding up. Release, come down, staff pose. From staff pose, bend both knees to chest. Cross your right ankle over your left. Draw knees closer. And closer. And closer into our chest. Then do the opposite. You're going to lay these shins down on the ground. Keeping the shins down, begin to lift your pelvis up. And the pelvis is going to lift from the downward press of your hands. Strongly, firmly press down in those hands. Try again. Lean back, lift feet off floor. Change the cross of your legs just for balance sake. Draw legs toward chest. And legs toward chest. And legs toward chest. And then the opposite, lean forward. So now the legs are on the ground. Push down with your hands. Lift your pelvis off the ground. One little inner body cue that many of you will find helpful. Lift the floor of your pelvis into the body. Into the body as you vigorously press those hands down. Down. Release. As you come upright, take the soles of your feet together for Baddha Konasana, the cobbler's pose. From Baddha Konasana, do a little bitty back bend, minute, from your lower back to your middle back to your upper back to your neck. Then do the opposite. Curl your tail under, round your back, folding your knees together, lean back, and let's take one of our favorites, the half boat. And you're just going to solidify the firmness of your belly, making it nice and steady. Wow, you might even shake a little. Lift up, cross your shins. This time roll forward, downward facing dog pose. Give yourself a few moments to lengthen. To lengthen and open. Bend both knees, trusting your hands. See if you can lightly hop to the top of your mat. Then inhale, grow long in your waist. Exhale, fold down over two legs that are straight. Inhale, bend your knees for Utkatasana, the powerful pose. And as your knees are bent, lift your torso and your arms upright. Remember, in any strength-oriented practice, don't try to control your breath, just let it flow. However it needs to go. Ideally through the nose, but just remember, the key characteristic is that it flows. Now, hook your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. With your hands together in prayer position. Widen your elbows. Begin to turn and open your chest. Remember how we did the twist on the floor? Turn from the belly and see if you can get your chest to open a little bit more. Release that one. Go to the other side. Right elbow to the outside of left knee. So this is, on all the twisting poses really in yoga, are thought to be digestive tonics. because of the way the organs are squeegeed, like wrung out. You could imagine your belly like a dirty dish rag. Gets wrung out. That's it. Turn open. Wow, that feels good. And then fall down. Standing forward bend. Inhaling, swoop all the way up to standing. From the strength of your feet, this time do a little bitty back bend. Little bitty, easy does it. Lift. Open. Lengthen as you bend back. And then hinging from your hips, swan dive all the way down. Now bend your knees as much as you need to plant your palms. Securely plant your palms in the ground. From their strength, jump straight to the push-up pose. Straight to it. Inhale, upward facing dog, lift. Open your chest. Exhale, downward facing dog, pull back. From downward dog, give yourself 3 breaths just to neutralize. Then as you feel the exhale, take your right foot to the outside of your left hand. Right foot to the outside of your left hand. Now, if it didn't make it all the way, just that's okay. Inchworm it farther forward. So your foot ideally is on the same plane as your hands. And then you're slowly going to start to lower your outer right hip toward the floor. As you do that, tuck your right buttock flesh under, so it's moving back toward the back part of your mat. At the same time, keep your left toes curled under, so the heel is stretching back that away. Now slide your left hand forward. Left hand forward, walk your right hand a little bit to the right side of your mat. Keep the right elbow bent, the right palm pressing. Twists inevitably can bring up some disorientation. So you might want to take a peek at the visual and see what we're doing. This is Angela Farmer's pose that she dubbed the dying warrior. Because when you breathe in it, it does start to feel like you're maybe the warrior on the battlefield looking for like a last little plea for some water. So she called it the dying warrior. And this is a tremendously effective abdominal twist, provided you keep pushing down with your right hand and keep turning your belly from left to right. Turning your belly from left to right. When you feel stuck, reach back through your left heel, reach forward through your left pinky. And release. You'll retrace your steps. So put the hands on the ground at the front of your mat, shoulders width apart. From the curl of your back toes, pull back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths, neutral breaths. Even if they're quick, even if they're choppy, they're fluid breaths. I mean, you're not holding them. Now, on the exhale, send the left foot forward to the outside edge of your right hand. Inchworm the foot forward so it's on the same plane as your hands. Slowly lower down onto your outer left hip. It's going to help you twist a lot if you tuck the flesh of your left buttocks under, so it's moving toward the back of your mat. Similarly, if you keep the back toes curled under, reach back through the heel. That'll give you an anchor. Now, slide right hand forward. Walk your left hand just to the outside edge of your left, or outside of your mat. Keeping the left elbow bent and that palm pressing. You're going to lengthen your body out from heel to hand. You're going to push with the palm of your left hand to generate some turning. And when you feel a little bit stuck, go back into the feeling of belly consciousness. Then on the inside, turn your belly from right to left. Turn your belly from right to left as you lengthen heel to hand. Now be in the intensity of it. Relax into the intensity of it. Wow, what a ring out. And then retrace your steps, hands under shoulders. From the curl of your back toes, go back to downward facing dog. As you feel the inhale, untuck your tail. As you feel the exhale, tuck your tail, come forward to plank position. One more time, squeeze above your knees so the legs are strong. Keep that, bend your arms lower to the push-up position. From push-up, upward facing lift. Open. Enjoy the freedom of your chest. And exhaling, downward facing dog, pull back. Way back. Bend both knees to the floor. Cross right shin on top of left shin, roll over your heels and onto your butt. Sit with your legs straight forward. Staff pose. Now from here, from seated staff, you want to make sure that your legs and your torso are at a right angle. From there, turn your torso to the right. Begin to roll over onto your outer right hip, and notice my feet are kind of coming with me. And the reason I say keep your torso and legs at right angles, most people, for some reason, have their torso going back. Try to keep this same shape. So the legs relative to the torso are in the same shape. Now widen your arms a little bit more than shoulders width. And like you did in the previous pose, push with your right hand. Turn your belly from left to right. Enjoy that ring out of your belly organs. Release that one, come to center. So this is the pose of the staff member. Lean over onto your outer left hip. Keep that same torso-leg relationship in the pose of the staff. In other words, don't angle your trunk back. It just doesn't work very well. Widen your hands. As you roll onto the outside edge of that left hip, push down in your left hand. From the strength of your arms and the wakefulness of your belly, turn from right to left. Come back to center. Cobbler's pose with the soles of your feet together. Half boat pose. Roll back onto your sacrum. Full boat pose. Lift your torso. Lift your legs higher. Cobbler's pose. Staff pose. This one's a little bit weird, our sort of peak pose here. You grab the right big toe with your peace fingers and thumb. Pull that knee back. Sneak your right shoulder underneath your right knee. And if it doesn't go there, okay, well, here's one little trick. You just rock side to side. And in the rocking, you'll typically feel that somehow the hip begins to unwind its grip. And so you just, wow, it's kind of there. And it's kind of convenient if the leg is behind the arm. Try this one. Keep the leg where it is. Put your hands on the floor. Push down into your hands, lift your pelvis up. That feels strong and fun. For those who can, pick your straight leg up. And your breath is going to be shallow, but it's still moving, isn't it? Release. Straighten that leg forward. Let's try it on the other side. Grab the big toe of your left foot with your peace fingers and thumbs. Pull back this away. Sneak your left shoulder underneath left knee. Even if it didn't go there, I suppose, or even if it did, I should say, you could rock back and forth. Rock back and forth for the unwinding of the binding around your hip. And then when you come up right, it's like, oh, it's kind of nifty. It does seem to stay. If you can, put your hands on the ground. Step one would be lifting pelvis up. And that's pretty empowering. Step two would be picking straight leg up. And that's kind of fun too. 2 breaths. And then release. Staff pose. To the cobbler's pose. With your hands on the floor behind this time, do a little bitty back bend. Open your chest. And then one last time, staff pose. How could we not add this one? It's just so fun. Grab the big toe of your right foot with your peace fingers and thumb. Pull knee back. Slide the shoulder all the way underneath the knee. If you've come this far, might as well put your hands on the floor. Cross your left ankle on top of your right ankle. Lean forward just enough to put weight in your hands, and now you can just squeeze your arm with your legs. Shoot both legs straight. Tip your torso forward, and why not? Turn. Turn belly from right to left. Wow, that's a good one. And then come to center, staff pose. Should we? Grab left big toe, peace finger and thumb. Pull back. Sneak shoulder under. Hands on floor outside hips. Cross right ankle on top of left ankle. Takes a little bit of momentum just to get weight into your hands, but then you squeeze that shoulder with your 2 legs. And you turn. You turn still on the inside. So before you go to congratulate yourself for getting up, remember the abdominal twist, the cleanse. Turn from left to right and feel that incredible ring out of your belly. Release back to center, staff pose. Bend your knees, put your feet on the floor. Reaching your arms forward, start to lower down. Try to touch each bone of your back to the ground. Until finally your shoulders and head touch. Slide your heels back a few inches so that your shins are vertical. Lay your arms on the ground outside your hips. And just a few times, I want you to push down into your feet. Lift your pelvis up. And then slowly lower your whole spine, pelvis back down. Push down in your feet. Lift your pelvis up. Slowly lower your whole spine, pelvis down. Grounding, you lift. Lowering, you savor the length of your back. Grounding, you lift. It's really kind of a counter pose for all the hip flexion we did. And then lowering, you feel the length, the warmth of your back. Drop the knees together as you bring your feet a little wider apart. Take your hands together. And like Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid, you want to rub your hands together. Then cover your eyes with the palms of your hands. And notice that although the hands are warm, it's as though your brain has cooled down. The warmth of your hands penetrates through those facial muscles, helping them to relax. And the brain itself seems to have cooled down. Keep your eyes closed. Rest your hands somewhere on your torso. Notice the rise and fall of your belly. Notice the emptiness of your belly. it feels clear. Finally, lay your arms on the ground, palms facing up, straighten your legs forward, Shavasana. And while we would strongly encourage you to stay from anywhere to up to 10 minutes, I'll just leave it to you to follow your own breath, to notice some of the sensations we've described, or even visualizations. Cool head, empty belly, tremendously vibrant rest of your body. Thanks for practicing with us. See you on the next one.